Okay, so welcome back, and now we're going to do our writing homework, and we're going to practice some basics for our D scale so that we can start writing our own songs today. And the best way to learn how to do anything new is to follow the rules first, and then later you can break the rules if you think you know a better way to do it or you have a new idea that you want to try to include. So the first thing you need to start with is some sheet music or manuscript paper, blank sheet music. We should have the 5 lines to make our musical notes upon, and we call that a musical staff, and we have several different staves or staves or systems going down the page here. Now right now they're blank, and so the first thing we need to do is add the right clef for your music. So if you're a violinist, mark a treble clef at the beginning of your first staff. If you're a violist, you're going to mark an alto clef instead, and if you're a cellist, you're going to mark a bass clef. If you're not sure how to do it, get out your music binder and you can look back at some of your old music to look that up. Then we're going to start by drawing the notes to our D scale. And the trick is you're always going to be following a pattern of space, line, space. That means if one note is in the space between 2 lines or just under a line, the next note has to be a line note. It has to have the line cutting right through it. The next note gets to be a space note again, and see how I'm connecting my ball so it just touches the bottom and just touches the top line. When you have a line note, let the line cut right through the belly of the note. Try not to draw the note so big that we can't tell, like this one, is this a line note or a space note? It gets a little bit confusing if you draw it unclearly. And we're going to try to draw all of our notes for our D major scale. So if you are a violist, start right here for D, just above the middle line in a space. If you're a violinist, start under all 5 lines of the staff to make your D. And if you're a cellist, start on the middle line to make your D. I've labeled mine D with a 0 underneath, so I know it's open D. Then think, how will you draw the next note 1 note higher? To go 1 note higher, I'm moving up 1 step. So a space note now becomes a line note. Or a line note now becomes a space note. What's higher than D in the alphabet? E. So it's a first finger E on the D string. Let's move to the next note. F sharp. See how I've gone up 1 more step. I've drawn the sharp symbol, I've drawn the name of the note, F sharp, and I've drawn the number for how many fingers I need to play that note. And you can continue on your way until you've created your whole D scale. Now I have a whole page here, but you'll just have 1 line. So you'll have your D scale across the top line, either with a treble clef violinist, or a bass clef cellist, but up on the top line, or alto clef for violist. Now the next thing we're going to do is start writing our song. But before we write our song, let's think about a few little rules to music. The basic rule is going to be that we only want 4 counts in every box. It's kind of like a musical thing that we only have to count to 4. We never really try to count higher than 4 in music. So having 4 taws, 1, 2, 3, 4, is an easy way to get to 4 counts. Or to vary it up, you can do taw, taw, taw for 2. 1 plus 1 plus 2 more makes 4. You could also get a little more creative and add a TT in there. A TT is still just 1 count. 2 T's make 1 count. So TT is 1, taw is 1, and taw for 2. Altogether that makes 4. And you could throw a TT in anywhere you wanted to. Another good rule of thumb, another good trick when you're writing music, is try not to have any huge jumps. If you try to make your melody more like a scale, like just climbing up 1 note at a time or going down 1 note at a time, or having small jumps, it'll make it easier to play, easier to read, and usually it will make it a more singable, beautiful melody. I am not sick, but I've been doing so much talking on the videos that my throat's getting dry. All right, so I think you have the idea, so I'm going to turn to my song sheet. So here's what yours should look like. You have your scale across the top, but of course you've written in your notes and fingerings as well for reference. And then you can give your song a title, and don't forget to write the composer's name. That's you. I just put my initials, Jennifer Splite Landry. I made up a silly title, Doorbell Jazz, and then I planned my song around it. But you might find that you write the song first, try to play it, and then that helps you create the title. Does it sound sad? Call it Rainy Days. Does it sound happy? Call it Sunshine. I'll give you a second to have a look at my song. And what you can see is that I've used a pattern to build my song. So I started off with my first bar. Da 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 da. That's my doorbell. And I've used the same pattern in line 2. Da 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 da. And then I used it again in line 3. Da 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 da. Wait, you can't see that. There it is. And in fact, the end of line 1 in line 3, I made the same too. Ya da 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 da. Same in line 3. Ya da 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 da. I'm using patterns because patterns make it easier to learn how to play your song, but they also make it easier for a listener to recognize your song, so it will sound more like music, like how a song on a radio often has a chorus. So I have ta 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 ta. That's 4 notes, 4 counts. T T T T ta for 2. T T is 1. T T is 1. Ta for 2. And all together that makes 4. Then I started my next phrase. I did the same thing. Da 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 da. I used the same rhythm, T T T T ta for 2, but I changed the notes. This time I went lower. Da 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 da. I like to end every sentence on a long note because it feels like how sentences have a period at the end of them. It makes the music feel more finished. Ya da 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 da. Ya da 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 dum. Then I have the same as the first line again. The whole line you can copy. Ya da 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 da. And then my last line I made different than any other line. Da 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 dum. Still ending on a long note. And if you end on a D, it'll work best because we're using a D scale to write this song. Our song is in D major. Okay, so how do you get started? Just start picking some notes. Some composers like to start writing first and visually on the paper see what they have and then go play it. Some people like to try to play it on their violin first. Pick which notes you like and then come back to the drawing board and write them down. Remember, you don't have to write it all at once. Start by just coming up with one idea. You can copy it in a few other spots. Come up with another idea. You might copy it again somewhere else like I did. It really helps if you make line 1 and line 3 exactly the same as one another. It really helps if you have the beginning of 2 or 3 or even all 4 lines the same because it will feel like a chorus. It will feel like you have something familiar. When you get to the very end of your song, draw a double bar, 2 stripes to say this is the end of the song. And now you're done. Go practice playing it on your instrument. You might have to add in the colors or the numbers or the letters to help you play it, but it will be a fun way to keep practicing. And for those of you who are a little more advanced, you might choose to add some things like this. P for piano, crescendo, mezzo forte, or staccato dots, or an accent symbol, or even a slur. Those are all up to you. It's your song. Happy writing, and hey, see if your parents will let you take a picture and send it in to me so I can see what you wrote. Or a video of you trying to play your song would be cool too. Have fun with your writing homework.